Thank you for always being here.
Welcome to BTS Lover Channel. Tonight, a silent threat, an unseen danger, and a decision that could change everything. Why did Lee Jusang suddenly deploy an elite bodyguard unit just to protect Jimin? What kind of threat forced this extraordinary move, and how serious is the situation behind the scenes? Stay with us as we uncover the hidden tension, the unspoken risks, and the reason why Jimin's safety has become the highest priority. Before we talk about danger, before we mention names, before we reveal why elite bodyguards were quietly repositioned and why certain exits were suddenly sealed, we need to talk about silence. Because sometimes, the most frightening threat does not announce itself. It waits, it watches, and it moves only when everyone else feels safe. For days, everything looked normal on the surface. Jimin smiled as usual. His steps were calm, measured, almost gentle. Cameras flashed, fans screamed his name, and the world saw only what it always wanted to see. An idol glowing under the lights, untouched by fear. But behind that familiar image, something had already shifted. A tension so subtle that only trained eyes could notice it. A pause that lasted half a second too long. A glance exchanged without words. A formation that changed ever so slightly. Those who understand security know one thing very well. When protection increases quietly, it is never without reason. Lee Jusang is not a man who reacts to rumors. He does not move based on panic, online speculation, or noise from the outside world. Every decision he makes is calculated, rooted in experience that has been sharpened in places and situations few people ever talk about. So when whispers began circulating among industry insiders that he had activated a higher level of protection for Jimin, those whispers carried weight. At first, nothing dramatic happened. No official statement, no visible confrontation, just small, nearly invisible adjustments. Bodyguards rotating positions more frequently. Routes altered at the last minute. Vehicles changing order without explanation. To ordinary eyes, it meant nothing. To professionals, it meant everything. The entertainment world is used to chaos. Crowds, flashes, uncontrolled emotions. But what Lee Jusang sensed was different. This was not the usual risk that comes with fame. This was not about fans pushing boundaries or media pressure spiraling out of control. This felt targeted, focused, intentional. And that is when the elite unit was quietly called in. They are not the kind of bodyguards whose names appear in headlines. They do not stand out. In fact, that is their strength. Trained beyond standard protocol, their loyalty is not just professional, it is personal. These are men who understand that protecting someone like Jimin is not simply about blocking danger, but about becoming danger's final obstacle. What makes this moment even more unsettling is what Lee Jusang reportedly told his team. Not in public, not on record, but behind closed doors where honesty carries no filter. The priority is not control, he said calmly. The priority is survival. Those words alone explain why the situation is far more serious than anyone outside realizes. In high-level security, there is an unspoken rule. When a leader is willing to put his own team in positions where sacrifice is possible, it means all other options have already been exhausted. And Leader Song, known for minimizing risk to everyone under his command, does not make such decisions lightly. As preparations intensified, Jimin remained unaware of the full extent of what was happening around him, or perhaps he knew more than he let on. Those close to him noticed something subtle in his behavior, not fear, but restraint, a quieter presence. Moments where he paused before stepping forward, as if instinctively listening to something the rest of the world could not hear. This is often how danger announces itself to those who live under constant protection, not with explosions or screams, but with intuition. The elite bodyguards chosen for this operation were briefed with a level of honesty that left no room for illusion. They were told clearly what was at stake. They were given scenarios that did not end neatly. And they were asked one question that separates ordinary professionals from extraordinary ones. Are you prepared to step forward if it comes to that? No one hesitated. That is the part of the story that never reaches the public. The quiet nods, the steady breathing, The acceptance that their role was no longer just to escort, but to shield, physically, completely, without calculation. As days passed, the atmosphere around Jimin grew heavier, though nothing outwardly changed. Appearances continued. Schedules moved forward. Smiles were still offered to fans. But behind every movement was a layered defense system that had been recalibrated for worst-case scenarios. Some fans later commented that something felt different. They couldn't explain it, they just felt it. The distance between Jimin and the crowd seemed slightly wider. The way security closed in felt faster, sharper, more deliberate. Those observations were dismissed as imagination at the time. They were not. Lee Jusang watched everything. Every angle, every face, every moment where the unexpected could slip through. And in his mind, he had already accepted a truth that no one wants to face. If something were to happen, hesitation would be fatal. That is why the elite unit was positioned not behind Jimin, but around him, woven into his path like a living wall. Their instructions were precise. Protect first, evacuate second, engage only if necessary, and if necessary, do not step back. This level of readiness is not activated for rumors. It is activated when intelligence suggests intent. Yet even now, no official confirmation exists, no public acknowledgement of threat, no explanation. And that silence is what makes this story so unsettling. Because the most dangerous situations are often the ones handled so well that the public never realizes how close they came to disaster. As the night deepened and schedules continued, one thing became clear to those paying attention. Jimin's safety had become the axis around which every decision turned. Time, space, movement, all secondary to one objective. Bring him home safe. What kind of threat forces a security chief to prepare his team for the ultimate sacrifice? Why would bodyguards willingly accept a role where survival is not guaranteed? And how close did danger really come before these measures were put into place? This is not just a story about protection. It is a story about loyalty tested under pressure, about silent courage, and about the thin line between what the world sees and what is fought in the shadows. And as we continue, we will slowly uncover the moments that led to this decision, the signals that were almost missed, and the reason Lee Jusang chose the most extreme option before it was too late. Stay with us. The truth behind Jimin's heightened security is far deeper, darker, and more emotional than anyone expected.